Hello everyone! Welcome to Nanuya channel. Today, we're unpacking what makes Gen Z tick, their challenges, their innovations, and why they're often called the most misunderstood generation. I'm Nino.
I'm Joy. We'll be covering everything from mental health and technology to activism and the way Gen Z is reshaping culture and work.
Let's start with the basics. Gen Z, also known as Zoomers, is typically defined as those born between 1997 and 2012, give or take a few years. They've grown up in a digital-first world where smartphones and social media are second nature.
Exactly. And because of that, they've been labeled everything from tech-savvy to screen-addicted. But there's so much more to them than their Instagram reels or TikTok dances.
Totally. For one, they're incredibly socially conscious. A Pew Research study found that Gen Z is the most diverse and progressive generation yet. They're vocal about issues like climate change, racial equality, and mental health.
And speaking of mental health, that's a big topic for Gen Z. They're more open about discussing it, but they're also experiencing higher rates of anxiety and depression compared to previous generations. What do you think drives that?
I'd say it's a combination of societal pressures, the constant connectivity of social media, and, well, the world itself. They've grown up seeing major global crises, from 9/11s to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right. And that's why we're here, to unpack these topics and hear directly from Gen Z voices.
Let's dive into technology. Gen Z is the first generation to grow up with smartphones in hand. They're digital natives.
And that's a double-edged sword. On one hand, they've used platforms like TikTok and YouTube to build businesses, share their art, and advocate for change. On the other hand, the pressure to always be on can be exhausting.
We spoke with Mia, a 19-year-old college student and content creator. Here's what she had to say.
I love that I can connect with people from all over the world, but sometimes I feel like I'm living two lives, one online and one offline. It's hard to balance.
That's such a relatable sentiment. And it's not just about social media. Gen Z is also redefining how we use tech in education, work, and even relationships.
For sure, but they're also mindful of the impact of tech. Many are leading the charge for digital detoxes and pushing for better data privacy.
Now, let's talk activism. If there's one thing Gen Z is known for, it's their drive to create change.
Absolutely. From the March for Our Lives movement to climate strikes inspired by Greta Thunberg, Gen Z has shown that age doesn't limit impact.
We asked Jordan, a 21-year-old activist, why activism matters to them.
We're inheriting a world that's in crisis. If we don't act now, who will? We've seen what's possible when people come together, and that gives me hope.
That's powerful. And it's not just about big movements. Gen Z is also making waves by supporting ethical brands, voting in record numbers, and holding companies accountable.
They're proving that small actions add up to big change.
So, where is Gen Z headed? What does the future look like for this trailblazing generation?
One thing's clear, they're redefining success. For many, it's not about the traditional 9-to-5 or climbing the corporate ladder. It's about purpose, flexibility, and making a difference.
And they're not afraid to challenge the status quo. Whether it's pushing for better mental health resources or creating new ways to work, Gen Z is shaping a future that's inclusive and innovative.
We'll keep exploring these trends in future episodes. But for now, let's wrap up with a takeaway for our listeners.
Here's one thing to remember. It's this. Gen Z is more than the stereotypes. They're resilient if TNT, resourceful, and ready to lead.
And we're here to amplify their stories. Thanks for tuning in to Gen Z Unplugged.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on social media. And if you're Gen Z or know someone with a story to share, reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning the norm.